Hey everyone, you're listening to the Active Turnkey Podcast, a podcast designed for hands-off, passive real estate rental investors. In the Active Turnkey Podcast, you'll hear Tom Olson and Jared Stoltmeister discuss all things turnkey rentals with other turnkey providers, service providers, and rental investors. Our goal is to help you reach your financial freedom and whatever comes after that. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Active Turnkey Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Stoltmeister, and of course we have the Tom Olson. But if you're watching us on YouTube, you're watching video, we do have a guest here. We have John Morey.
Yeah, the shenanigan mode guy. That's me.
That's him.
Yes, if you're listening to us, he has a shirt that says he's in shenanigan mode. So,
and that is that. If there was ever a poignant T-shirt that was made for somebody, that was definitely for John.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to wear the T-shirt.
No,
you get that right away, but it's like almost like a heads up right away. You walk up to John, you're going to know what's coming. And,
it's trouble. It's trouble every time.
So John is here early. And so here we've been talking for several weeks promoting the Free For All event. And so John is here, and I know this will be published a few weeks from now, but tomorrow the event starts. And so John's here with Tom as they're getting stuff coordinated. He's here early, and we thought it would be great to lasso him into a podcast. And so John's got tons of experience in real estate, and we can get into that a little bit here, but we thought it'd be good to bring him in. And so eventually we'll get into the topic of the power of a network. And really, John is the guy for this. He really is.
Yeah, he works. So just to even talk about this event. So this event kind of just started on accident about, I think it was in April. Me and John were talking, and we're like, you know what? People are just sick and tired of doing Zoom calls. They're sick of doing Zoom events. They're sick of doing they just need a place that they can just get together and have some fun and, talk real estate. And
the biggest part is network.
Yes, and network. Yeah. And so just this whole year trying to plan this event, I told Aaron and I told John, I just want it to be fun. Like, I'm not going to stress out about it. If 20 people show up, great. If 100 people show up, great. And I think as of right now, we have 98 people that are signed up. We had 3 more guests actually sign up this morning.
Really? Oh boy.
Wow.
That's insane.
It's so weird. So, and it's just one of those things that just kind of happened. Like, we didn't really promote it. We didn't really throw out a bunch of emails. We threw out maybe 1 or 2 emails. We posted on Facebook a couple times. We told our network, and it just happens. But like, I think even that kind of proves our podcast. Our podcast is the power of a network. Yes, and John's been in my network for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, for a long time.
He's somebody that I've done business with personally. I've loaned him money. We've done things together.
I paid it back.
And he paid it back.
That's why he's on the podcast.
Yeah, that's why we allow him to come back.
I paid it back.
Pay me back.
All of it.
Do they get to come back?
Many times.
John's been great. He's been great to work with. But I never really put it together of, hey, maybe John could help me promote my events. I didn't really ever put that. And really in this event, John did an amazing job. He just loves to talk.
I just love to talk. Yeah.
And he loves to cause trouble.
Yes.
I think it's just because people love to see, it's kind of like people love to watch, a car crash. A train.
Yes, that's me.
People love to watch a
train crash. Shenanigan mode every time.
But John has done a great job helping us with this event. I do appreciate you, John, for helping us with this. And
my pleasure. It was wonderful.
So he's helped me as well, but I believe the network has also helped John, and John's a great example of this over the last 5 years.
You bet.
So before we get into that, that's going to be the topic for today. And if you're listening to a podcast and you're expecting some information about turnkey rentals, this absolutely applies.
Yeah,
it transcends your silo. Whatever that channel is, it still works for all of it. But before we get into that and we really start getting into the power of a network, tell us a little bit about your story. Give us a quick bio of who is John Morey.
All right, well, let's just really short, okay? Because this can go into forever. So
salsa dance.
Yeah, that's the thing. That always comes up because my former life, I was a professional salsa dancer, promoter, and all that stuff. I danced for 17 years, so that was my life at the time. But then, I'm also working as an avionics engineer. But then one day, May 13, 2016, I was walked out the door, fired. That was it. That was the start of my business. And I was doing it incorrectly in the very beginning. I didn't have a network, and even though I was already part of Tom and and Jim Ingersoll, but I didn't really utilize that network to the max. Well, until maybe a year later, when I finally start attending other events, Mastermind with Tom and all that, that's when I saw the value of that network is very powerful. So because of that, I am where I am today. I do a lot of joint ventures. I still lend. I'll borrow money. I will be doing the lending later on. I'm not a big fix and flip kind of guy because that's a lot of work. So I don't do that. So I'm mostly a buy and hold guy. So that's the short version.
So for some of the people listening, that's them. Now, I will be transparent. I also have had a past in dance with salsa dancing.
Yeah.
There was a day where John and I danced in a hotel lobby.
I'm his dance partner. Partner.
So
this is going downhill.
Well, it is. And the only reason I bring this up is because I know it's going to come out eventually, and
it
I'll
will
be out front
today, tomorrow.
These are the skeletons in your closet.
I'm going to try to grab control of it now before it goes crazy. It goes viral.
It will be viral.
Yeah.
Someday.
So
and Tom knows he's my target too. He knows it. It's just a matter of time.
He's been avoiding them, but
I just let John go to the ladies. So
Yeah.
the ladies seem to.
Yeah, the ladies
little
they
bit
say,
better.
"Yeah, John, let's go dance. It's all good." But with the guys, they go, "Ooh, I don't know, John. I don't know. I don't know about this."
yeah, at first it was uncomfortable, but he made me feel loved. And
I like to make the guys feel loved. That's for sure.
And that was helpful. So I think that's a natural time to segue into the power of
networking.
Network. Yeah. So Tom.
So John, why don't you just let's just get a little bit deeper into who you are right now. So how many deals are you doing now?
Oh boy. Well, at this moment, I have 4 going on at the moment now. Even though I said I don't like rehabbing, but because of the way the deals are presented to me, the deal tells me what I need to do. Mm-hmm. So these particular deals, rehabbing was really loud. So we had to do that. And these are my JV partners that through the network is how I'm able to fund all these things. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am at the moment. But I also do contract for deeds. I like those, and I do have JV partners with those also. I have 2 kinds. I have the short-term and the long-term type JV partners. Then some of them I also have lending partners, and all of this is because of the network. I could not have done any of this stuff if it wasn't for the people that I associate with.
So and John's here to help with our event. Me and him kind of partnered up on this. And John's here to possibly learn. There's going to be some great speakers that will teach you some things. But the value is really in those one-on-one conversations. The you could say the breaking of bread.
Yes.
It's eating with people. It's networking. It's like if I can talk to somebody on the first day I'm at an event, and then I get a little bit deeper on the second day I'm with them. By the time the event's over. If I didn't play my cards right, I could probably actually take action on something by the end of a meeting. Mm-hmm. Where if you just kind of come to learn, it's just education. You might as well just watch a YouTube video. You might as well just listen to a podcast.
That's good.
But if you really want to be an action taker and be somebody that can actually do 4 deals at a time, my friend John is doing right now, you've got to be able to get a little bit deeper with those relationships and go and try to really understand, because when you hear somebody in a conference, there's always 100 more steps that it takes, and just to see the paperwork sometimes helps helps you wrap your brain around what's actually going on.
What the beauty of that part too is what Tom was talking about is, yes, you have in an event like this, you're gonna have the education part. That's a given, because people are coming here to understand, to learn. Whether you're a beginner, you're a way advanced investor, you're gonna learn something. But everything really for the networking part, this is where you now connect with people, is learn about the person. Mm-hmm. Get to know the person. Then, you'll be talking, just say, hey, what is it that you do? And just be interested in that person. Once you're interested in that person, then before you know it, there's this going back and forth. Then you just don't know where that chemistry is going to come from. And yes, sometimes from left field, somebody's going to be hearing the conversation. They now want to join in. You don't even know that might be the person that's going to team up with you and say, by the way, I want to do your deal. Mm-hmm. And just, because you'll be talking about real estate, talking about the person. They'll be asking about what the deal is and all that. Before you know it, somebody's going to say, I'm going to help you with that deal. It's mind-blowing. The networking part after the classes is where the magic happens.
Well, and that's so that actually is a good subject. So obviously with networking, typically it shouldn't all be for fun. You can go have fun anywhere. You can go meet up with friends or do whatever. But typically an event like this, it's designed to eventually create a relationship where you can do work with people you like.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So how do you get to that point? Like if for some people who have never done that, they've never done the networking. How does that work? What are some things that I know you're a genuine guy, and that's super important.
You have to do that. You have to be genuine. And this mouth right here, your mouth, you have to use it. Open it up. Talk.
Mm-hmm. John's really good at that.
I'm good at that. Yes. Oh yeah. I will talk your ear off. You know.
There's 100 steps.
There's
in how John
yeah.
talks.
Yeah. Exactly. You know. Just talk. You know. Just get to know the person. Just chit chat. Before you know it, you know, the conversation will steer where it needs to go, and then over time, this is not instant. All right. So, like this weekend, we are going to be meeting people. We're going to be connecting with people. Then after that, when somebody says, hey, you know what, I want to do your deal, then that's when now more conversations are going to happen. It might not happen like this weekend, but once you get the phone number, email, start talking to each other, then before you know it, there it comes. You know, like Tom and I, that's how it happened with us. We were at an event 4 or 5 years ago, and it was with Jim Ingersoll, and you know that was a very good mastermind, and we were all vulnerable. We all had to speak out there. I'm starting to have chills again because I remember. And Tom saw how nervous I was, but I wanted to be vulnerable and present the deal. I had a duplex at the time. So Tom sat next to me. He says, tell me more about your deal. That's what he did. So I said, okay. So we talked about it. He goes, I'm doing it. Just like that. You don't know. But because I was vulnerable and I was real, you know, that's why you have to be real. You can't fake it. And in these conversations after the classes, that's when it's going to happen. Just be yourself, have fun, talk to people, be jovial. Don't sit in the corner and as if like you're not approachable. Don't do that. That would never work.
So let me just take the devil's advocate. Let me take the opposite side of that. So there's some people that are like John. Very few. Thank God.
Thank God.
So there's some people that are like John.
Percentages
that are very jovial, and they're very like outspoken, very extroverted. And then there's other people that are kind of like me. Now, obviously, if you listen to this podcast,
no, you're not.
You probably don't think that's the case because I do talk on the podcast. But there's not a lot of people in here. It's just me and Jared. It's
true.
Yeah. And me too.
And him now. But
and
I
Tom's
think
talking, I'm listening. It's just how we do it.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, and when John's talking, I was listening. If you're picking up on this, I think some people are introverts, and some people like you. I don't want everybody to think that just because I'm an introvert, I'm not going to get a lot of value out of networking because there's another I think actually more powerful skill than talking, and that's listening.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And when you actually really listen to what people are saying, you can figure out what their needs are. Just like wholesale training. Like most wholesale training is like figure out what their problem is. If you solve their problem, you can buy the house, right? But this is the same thing. Like when you're out networking, if you just keep your ears open, you'll find enough people that have enough problems and you might have a solution for that problem, and you'll never know if you're, flapping your soup coolers the whole time and you're not really listening to what other problems you can solve. So on both sides of that, whether you're, somebody who's an extreme extrovert and you can, talk, or if it's somebody who you said, hey, like, you know what, I'm just gonna walk around. I don't have any agenda here. I don't really need anything necessarily, but you just don't know who is there that you can actually help.
Right. It's just a balance. You got to the talking and the listening is a good balance.
Yeah. So if you're listening at an event or if you're communicating at an event, either way you are communicating, and I think that both are super valuable. And both can turn into lifelong relationships. Both can turn into other deals that you never even thought about being able to do with each other. I just think that it's a massive power that most people are kind of missing. I mean, we even do this with people that come to see our office. I mean, I think if somebody will actually get in a plane and come fly out and see us, they will be much more invested and they'll understand, and there will be that level of trust. So that's what you get. You get that level of trust when you're networking. You get to learn from people. You also get to get your story out to people. You get to get deals. You get to get education. All those things are kind of those byproducts of coming to.
Now imagine what he just said about that byproduct. You're doing it by yourself. So if you're doing it by yourself, you're not going to get that byproduct. So that's very good, Tom. You were awesome.
You can't.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Because you're capped at everything that you can do. You're capped at what
Sure.
you know. You're capped at what
Yep.
your experience is. And so if you're out there and you're saying, hey, like I'd love to figure out how I could do maybe more deals, or I want to figure out how I can maybe get private lenders. There's probably some turnkey buyers out there that are looking at a way to get private lenders. There's many more different learning just contractors. What should be expected? It's kind of funny. You come to these events and then you think you're the person that's you're the only person that's ever had this problem that you have.
No.
You're the person. You think that you're the only person that's ever had a problem with a contractor. You think you're the only person that's ever had a tenant not pay you, and it's just like I always tell people, Jared, that complain about like something that goes wrong with one of the rental. I'm like, does that ever happen to your house? Like, do you ever replace your roof? Do you ever have something that goes wrong?
Yeah.
Jared had to replace his own roof, this week at his own house, and I'm like, things happen. Like you have to do things. Like it doesn't matter if it's your house or somebody else's house. What the problem is a lot of landlords, they get into this rut of not have to do anything, and they think that's how it's supposed to be forever. And the problem is that creates deferred maintenance, and then long term creates bigger problems. So, anyways,
Just to add to what he's saying, in the networking also on the listening part. So there you are. You're kind of shy, but you happen to be in this group that they're talking, right? So now you're listening. Sometimes what they're talking about is actually a problem that you've had that you just didn't know how to solve. So now they're talking about that same problem. Guess what? They just solved the problem for you. So that's the beauty of the network. So if you're by yourself, you're just doing your own thing, and you're still stuck with that problem, you don't know how to solve it. Well, guess what? If you're in a network, that could be solved right there.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, naturally for me, one reason why Tom has me in my role with the company, he had me come in sales, is because I'm comfortable enough to do that, to go up to people and have a conversation.
He loves to talk. Yes, he does.
I can't. So John and I hit off right away, and we
just talk.
But
and we dance.
So I think there's some wisdom to that. So you have some people with personality types. So how do you, if you're going to an event, I think it's really important to just be aware. Be aware of the people who aren't talkative and people who are, because you'll connect differently.
Yes.
The guy who's talking, for me, one thing I do is you'll know if I'm engaged. If I'm engaged in a conversation, I'm asking questions and letting them talk. I'm letting them do their thing. But I'm learning about them and so on. So I think that's really important. Just if you're going to an event and you're quiet, okay, well then be aware and look and see what they're doing and how they're behaving or interacting.
Yeah, and just also insert let's say you don't want to talk. That's okay. Just insert yourself in this. Like there's going to be small groups, so just stand around. And then just listen. And before somebody's gonna say, "So what do you do?"
Yeah.
There you go.
That's good.
They just now asked you a question. You have no choice now but to answer.
I hate that question though, because
I
when
know.
people ask me what I do, I have to tell them.
Well, yeah, I know.
I
Isn't that
don't
funny?
do anything.
I know. Well, that's okay.
I
don't do anything.
That's the next podcast.
Yeah. What does Tom do? Nothing.
Yeah. It's gonna. We'll see if I'm still around when that next podcast is published.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, true or false? A network is not a deal; it's a relationship.
Oh, big time. Your network is based on relationships.
Okay.
Yeah. Your networking is the relationship. Then, of course, that translates later on, hopefully, into wealth for both of you.
So that's a good mindset. So you if you're getting into real estate, in many cases, real estate can be deal centric, right? You're trying to build your portfolio, so it's based upon deals. You come to an event, and if you're looking at that event to walk away with a deal, you may not come away with what you're looking for and feel like it wasn't profitable. And so sometimes it could, I don't know if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be your mindset going into what am I supposed to accomplish here? Am I looking to create a relationship, or am I looking to walk away with a deal?
I'm going to let Tom answer, because Tom, he's been doing this for a long, long time, right? So, Tom, you take that, because that's a good one for you to answer, what he just asked. That's a good one.
Well, I think there's this statement that it's like it gets used so much that it's almost turned into a cliche, but your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
You've heard us quote scripture on this podcast, and you kind of even talk about biblical stories about that.
Yes.
And there's a great story. It's actually called the Unjust Steward, where like a steward, was not a faithful steward. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, and his master had to come to him and say, hey, what are you doing? You're not doing, things right. And he went back into his network. And he started, using the king's stamp or using the master's stamp to go and give people, a percentage off of what they actually owed. And, in our earthly wisdom, we think that's an unjust steward, that he didn't do what he was supposed to do. But in this example, the king came back to him and said, "Oh, you're a wise person." Why? Because he was spreading a net for himself. He was so to me, like, I believe that your network is not only just your net worth. It really all the brain power, all the money, all the resources, all the experience you can gather and use as your network, and that is your net worth. But I also believe it's your survival plan, and just like it was in this story of the unjust steward, of like, it was really his survival plan at the end of the day. I think there's also other spiritual applications to that we won't necessarily get into on this podcast, but I think it just goes to prove that in times of plenty, your network will boost you so much faster than you can possibly go by yourself. And I think sometimes more importantly, in times of famine, they will be the ones that are there for you when you need help the most. If you really create those deep relationships, you could pick up the phone and say, "Hey man, what are you doing? What's going on in your neck of the woods? Have you found toilet paper anywhere?"
Exactly.
So anyways, your network is definitely your net worth, but it's also your survival plan.
Well, I think it's a really good application. That parable is powerful because the application there is he's calling a guy who's dishonest wise.
Right.
Like, what's the point? The point was to the listeners, how much more should, like, Jesus' disciples be better than that? Like, if this guy's wise and connecting with his network, those guys were accepting massive discounts. So those guys fit in really well together. So if we have a higher standard, that's what networking does. You're connecting with people you want to work with long term who operate the way you want to operate.
Yeah.
So in many cases, we may connect with somebody. Why? Because they are in line. So you go to events, and sometimes it just doesn't. You don't connect. Why? Well, they're probably not the type of person you want to do business with for some reason or another. And so that application is really helpful, because when you come to network, and because this network, the people that are here and speaking, you guys have been doing stuff together for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you can go down some many trails with that. I mean, there are people that used to be in my network that are no longer in my network.
And that's
people
going to happen.
That have proven themselves not to be worthy.
Yes,
to even be in the network, but definitely not to be worthy for me to invite them to want to speak or want to be part of this, because like they're not, they don't have integrity, or they don't do that.
And that was flushed out through the network.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and that's what's powerful.
It's almost like a natural progression. That once that ugly head shows up, boop, cut it off. Next.
But in many cases, you don't have that vetting process without having
it's not going to happen right away. Especially that we people, we should actually give people the benefit of the doubt. Give them trust them first. And then that ugly head will actually come out. And sometimes there are people that are just very good on faking it. And they sucker you in. But thank God that through experience, we know how to do that now, to weed them out. But at first, it's going to be kind of hard, but then the network still overall is your net worth. They will help you to elevate.
Absolutely. So if there's any action step for a listener out there, I would say find those networking events that you can go to. Maybe your local RIAs, maybe other networking events. We do have an event here once a year. It'll probably be, again, I don't have the dates for it right now, but next October, we'll probably be doing another free-for-all event just like we're doing here. We basically, the way we do it, we just have sponsors that will come in and will speak and then also pay for the event, and then I don't have to charge anybody. It's not for me to make money. It's not a big money maker. It's really to just help the network and help people be able to connect and have that network.
Just to brag about this event, let me tell you right now, in the moment we announced it, a week and a half later, all our sponsors said, "We're doing it with you." That was amazing. So that's the value of the network. They saw how beautiful this is, and the goal of this is really to connect and help people. That's the goal of this event right here. Once our sponsors heard that, just like that. So be ready for next year. If you want to be a sponsor, come join us.
Here we go.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
That's really good. So, is it just real quickly, John? You said you're buying whole. Do you mind sharing how many units you're up to?
Oh boy, sorry.
Is that something you mind doing?
No, that's private. Let's just say
okay.
I'm doing well. That
Fair enough.
Yeah, when I got fired in 2016, I was making a $6 figure income as an engineer. I'm doing well.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, now how much of that would you attribute to the network?
Oh,
that's kind of where I was headed.
Yeah, I would say about 90% of that is my network. The 10% is just, of course, my effort. But the 90% is because of my connections. I could not have done what I'm doing right now without that network. The education, the friendships, especially the friendships. The friendships, if I have a problem, I call. Tom and I, we've talked quite a few times. Hey, Tom, or even not even real estate. He was down one time and I was down one time. We just talk, just friends. That's huge, And then of course, the financial gains that's there and the access to funds. There's a lot of people out there that they want a deal maker. Well, I'm a deal maker, so they gravitate to me because I have the deals and they have the money. We connect. Boom, there you go, magic.
Yeah, it seems like in real estate, Tom, you might want to help me with this. It seems like it is very information is kept. I guess it may not be any different than other business, but having that person you can run to and say, hey, I got this opportunity. What do you think?
Yeah.
Or who do you talk to in that situation? It's kind of like a counselor's in a sense.
Right. That's why I think early on, like masterminds and those events that you have to pay for, I think are so valuable at times. And, I think it's actually very rare to find a network like we kind of have and like we've been a part of with other little networks that don't really cost a lot of money to get involved with. Like our event's a free event. Like it's free for all. Like that's why we call it free for all.
Free for all.
So, we're even having a band come play. We're basically having a party tomorrow night. We're
having
a
party.
So, John's going to be giving away salsa lessons. To me, it's one of those things where you've got to find those networks, you got to find those places, and to me, I just wouldn't delay. Like the quicker you can get into networks. I'm even joining new networks now because I want to learn new things and try to figure out how to maybe use more money that I have in a more wise way, or be able to make higher returns that I'm already making now, or I'm even always. I've been doing this now for, 13, 14 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And I'm still trying to find those networks that I can learn more. I want to be part of networks that people can learn from me, but I also want to be part of those networks that I can, reach, to that next level as well.
Elevate every time.
I think it's really interesting. One of our next couple podcasts we'll be talking about is scaling your portfolios and how to do it. And I'm telling you, like anything else, scaling is difficult. But if you hear him say that 90% of his current portfolio has been based off of or built off of relationships, that's pretty powerful. If you're looking to do that. And so we'll save some information for another podcast. But do you guys have any closing thoughts today for the event or for
go find a network?
Yeah, start early. Start early, and don't be shy. Even though you are a shy person, just hang around with the people that are talking, and before you know it, they'll have you talking. I
want everybody who's listening to this right now to email Jared at jared@byolsongroup.com and ask him about the next event.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and by that time, I'm sure I will have all the dates.
Yeah,
right,
probably
for this. Sure.
Probably. Just block out October of 2022.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, that's a good idea. I like that.
So, first of all, we appreciate you joining us. And of course, with Olson Group, we do build rental portfolios for investors. So if you're interested in starting, you're looking to get into turnkey rentals, you can reach me again at jared@byolsongroup.com. Or if you're already in other markets and you're looking to build it further, you can also go to our website at byolsongroup.com. You can join our list. And you can also, we actually now have our buyer's guide available to you. You can download that and you can learn more about our area and what kind of products we're providing. And so that's it for sure. If you enjoy our podcast, Absolutely. What do they do?
They need to give us a 5-star review. John's going to do that today.
Yeah, I said 5 stars.
5-star review.
Five.
Give us a
stars.
5-star review and tell your friends about us too. Yeah. Don't just, you can share it on Facebook and you can, follow our YouTube page. You can do all those things, but actually like telling somebody else about us would probably be what we appreciate the most, because we do value that network. And we think that a person telling another person is 1,000 times more valuable than a like or a share or a 5-star review, but we still want those likes and shares and 5-star reviews.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Active Turnkey,
the best way to buy rentals.
Thank you
guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Ish Deserum. I am a client of Olson Property Services. I am an out-of-state investor, so I really am reliant on a solid group of people on the ground who can manage my portfolio in Northwest Indiana, and I have been able to find that in the OPS team. One thing I think that really differentiates them from others is their personal touch. Shout out to Cheryl and the team. They've done a phenomenal job, and check them out. Thanks.
Olson Group Network makes no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this podcast. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast should not be considered professional advice. Unless specifically stated otherwise, Olson Group Network does not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in this podcast, and information from this podcast should not be referenced in any way to imply such approval or endorsement. Any third-party materials or content of any third-party site referenced in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions, standards, or policies of Olson Group Network. Olson Group Network assumes no responsibility or liability for the accuracy or completeness of the content contained in third-party materials or on third-party sites referenced in this podcast, or the compliance with the applicable laws of such materials and/or links referenced herein.